Hey everybody, how you doing? It's me, John Butter, the only YouTuber who got a haircut. But I still wanted to show solidarity, so I haven't shaved yet. And it looks bad. Folks, times are tough. I don't know if you know this, but times are tough. You can quote me on that. Times are tough. Sports are canceled. Concerts are canceled. And movies? Hold on, let me check my computer screen. Yep, canceled, which really sucks because there are a lot of good movies this summer that I really wanted to see, like that Saw spinoff with Chris Rock, the Candyman reboot, A Quiet Place Part 2. Really, it's just mostly horror movies that I wanted to go see. I just realized that just now. But what am I gonna do? Just mope around all day about the movies that I can't see? No, instead I'm gonna talk about the movies that I have already seen. For you, because I love you. That was too strong. I apologize. This is going to be similar to the video I did last year, where I reviewed all the movies that I saw that summer, but this time I'm not going to go in the chronological order that I saw the movies in. Mostly because time isn't real anymore, guys. I bought this nice watch using a Jax Films promo code, but I don't need it anymore because time ain't real. I didn't want to actually throw out for the bit because it did cost a lot of money, so I'm just going to put it on because it makes me look cool. So for this video, I'm just going to go in order from my least favorite to my most favorite movie that I've seen this year. And spoiler alert, I've only seen 8 movies this year. Okay, so coming in at number 8, the very bottom, Blumhouse's Fantasy Island. I really hated this movie. It was made by the same people who did Truth or Dare about 2 years back, and just like Truth or Dare, it has really bad dialogue, forgettable characters, bad visual effects, and just a really terrible plot that just gets more and more convoluted as it goes on. I'm honestly not even sure who this movie was made for, because the people who grew up watching Fantasy Island certainly aren't gonna go see a dark, gritty reboot of it, starring actors that they absolutely do not recognize. And teenagers and young adults, aka Blumhouse's target demographic, definitely aren't going to recognize Fantasy Island, nor are they going to recognize the many Fantasy Island references that they put in. And even though the total box office is just under $50 million, you can still classify this movie as a financial success, only because they made it on the cheap, and boy does it show. You gotta give a shout out to Ryan Hansen and Jimmy O Yang though. They were the best parts of the movie and they really had fun with their characters. And on the other end of the spectrum you have Lucy Hale, who gives probably one of the worst performances I've seen in a long while. At one point she has to give this monologue about how in high school she was bullied, and I'm in the theater like, oh yeah, I bet you fucking were, Lucy Hale. That was probably the most unrealistic part of the whole movie, I think. So yeah, I did not like it. 3 out of 10. I do have good news though. Fantasy Island is literally the only movie on this list that I did not like. Every film 7 and up are movies that I like at least a little bit. So number 7 is Invisible Man. Invisible Man had about the same budget as Fantasy Island. The only difference is Invisible Man had a director that knows something, get this, about filmmaking. Now, but I really did like Invisible Man. It had great performances, it had great effects. Lee Winnell really knows how to build tension by doing just simple stuff like lingering a shot on an empty room. I gotta take some points off though, because some of the dialogue was kind of clunky, and some parts of the movie really did remind me too much of Candyman. And also, this isn't the film's fault, but when I saw this in theaters, there was this old couple in my row, and they would not stop talking for the entirety of the movie, and they were just describing everything that was happening on the screen. So maybe if I watched it now without that distraction, I would rate it a little bit higher, but for now, it's a 7 out of 10. Coming in at number 6 is The Hunt. Now, this is actually the last movie I saw in theaters. Yeah, luckily I made it out of the theater before they put one of those big fumigation tents over it. That's a lie. I lie to you so much. Now, politically, The hunt is very surface level. It's like liberals are mad at conservatives, and conservatives are mad at liberals, and everyone's mad at each other. And it's like, yeah, I got it. But as a comedy, this movie actually works. It managed to get more than just a couple chuckles out of me, and the lead actress, Betty Gilpin, did a really great job, despite maybe one or two odd choices in the film. Not to mention the fact that Glenn Howerton is in there. Glenn freaking Howerton. You know, from AP Bio. Can I just say, though, it is a little weird that conservatives ended up getting the most mad at this movie. Like, all you need to do is watch the trailer and you'll know right away that the liberals are the bad guys. They're literally portrayed as elitist, lacking in empathy, just borderline sociopathic, but somehow conservatives got mad at this movie. I think it's because they just heard the synopsis, which is it's a movie about liberals hunting conservatives. And because they've been force-fed this idea that, oh, Hollywood hates you because you're conservative, and they've been hearing it for years, that they automatically assume that the liberals are the good guys. I don't know, maybe one day they'll get just one iota of media literacy and they'll figure it out. Until then, I'm giving this movie a 7 out of 10, because it was pretty good. Number 5, Sonic the Hedgehog. Can I just say that this movie is very necessary. Kids need a movie that they'll enjoy now, but then in 10 years they'll look back on and they'll realize that it's the weirdest shit ever. This is their Spy Kids 3D game over. Honestly, though, I can't even be mad at this movie because Ben Schwartz is in it. I love Ben Schwartz so much. There are also quite a few moments where they actually delve into Sonic's psyche, because he's been alone for like the first 12 years of his life after watching his mentor die. I was not expecting them to go that deep, but they delivered. Speaking of deliver, they also have a lot of prominent references to Olive Garden, to the point where they even say the slogan. It's very weird product placement. I would say my favorite part was when Sonic was running the bases, and he was building up so much energy that he caused a major power outage. And at that point, one of the children in the theater I was seeing the movie in, he very loudly went, "Why did Sonic do that?" It was very adorable. So yeah, 7 out of 10. Number 4, Bad Trip. Now this is kind of like a hidden camera prank movie, kind of like Borat, or what was it, Bad Grandpa, or Dirty Grandpa? Dirty Bad Grandpa. If this movie was just a straightforward road trip movie with no pranks, it would have been just completely unremarkable. But not only did they decide to add the gimmick of the hidden camera prank thing, but they also did it really well. They used pretty much every opportunity they could find to put in a prank. So when some of the characters are having a drug trip, that's an opportunity for a prank. When Eric Andre is having a fantasy sequence, that's another opportunity for a prank. If you've seen the Eric Andre show, you know he's great at these pranks. But also, Lil Rel and Tiffany Haddish also display just amazing improv skills during these scenes. It sucks that not a lot of people are going to be able to see this, because first it got pushed back, and now this whole mess. And I think you can only watch it on like Amazon Prime or something. But if you can get your hands on a copy, it's worth a watch. 8 out of 10. Number 3, Onward. First of all, can I just applaud Pixar for including the first out gay character. So brave of them to have a tertiary character who has one throwaway line about having a girlfriend. A line that can easily be edited out. It's just so amazing and so brave. Okay, no, I'm joking, but besides that part, I really did enjoy Onward. Looking at the trailer, the plot seemed a little bit trite to me, but they actually took it in a completely different direction than what I was expecting. There's this moment near the end where Tom Holland's character has a sort of epiphany, and it made like the whole movie suddenly like click. And it didn't make me cry, but it got pretty close. I'm still taking points off though because they had a frickin' Simpsons short in the beginning. That just feels weird, but it was good. 8 out of 10. Number 2, Trolls World Tour. Now I had just watched the first Trolls movie this year, and it was okay. It was like harmless fun with a lot of loud noises and music. I would give it a 6 out of 10. Trolls World Tour is way better than the first Trolls movie. You don't even have to watch the first Trolls movie to get Trolls World Tour because they explain everything that you need to know in like the first minute. Trolls World Tour does everything that a sequel is supposed to do. It builds on the themes of the first movie, it expands the world, it introduces us to some really cool new characters, and the main character, what was her name? Poppy. She goes through a different arc from the first movie. It's not just a retread where she has to learn the same lesson again. Also, not for nothing, but this movie has some pretty interesting stuff to say about things like appropriation and music snobbery. The main villain literally just goes around and being like, oh, techno music, that's not real music. Funk music, that's not real music. Rock is the only real music. Music snobbery is like my least favorite personality trait in somebody. So it was really validating to see that as a character trait in the villain. So yeah, this movie was actually really good. And it has the McElroy brothers in it, so 8 out of 10. And coming in at number 1, Birds of Prey. This movie also had some controversy behind it. I think it's because Harley Quinn didn't dress sexy enough for some people. Harley Quinn, she ain't hot enough, baby, I can't see her butt. How am I supposed to enjoy this movie? I can't see her butt. I was seeing a lot of people call this movie SJW, which it was not in the slightest. But enough talking about them. This movie rocked. I mean, you have Margot Robbie, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Chris Messina, Ewan McGregor. Ewan? Everybody gave a stellar performance. I love the editing, I love the effects. Dude, I love the fight scenes. They were amazing. This movie is also funny as hell. Out of all of these movies, Birds of Prey made me laugh the most. Also, if you can believe it, no other movie has given The Breakfast Sandwich the recognition it deserves. The only thing keeping it from being like an absolutely perfect movie is the fact that I got a little bit confused by the timeline of events, and I had to go in and watch it a second time in order to understand everything. But other than that, this is a dynamite movie. People are calling this movie a flop just because it didn't make like Aquaman numbers, and it's like, yeah, of course it didn't make Aquaman numbers because it's not an Aquaman-sized movie. This movie's great though, 9 out of 10. And there you have it. Every single movie that I've seen in theaters and also digitally. And it's gonna be that way for a while. I mean, hopefully there's gonna be more digital releases of movies that I wanted to see. Or maybe at some point in the future, movie theaters will be able to actually reopen with some restrictions. I'll definitely have to hear what the restrictions are before I decide if I actually want to go see movies in the theater again right away. But for now, I guess it's just going to be me and all the streaming services I'm subscribed to and my glorious shelf of physical media like SpongeBob. So okay guys, that does it for me. If you like what you see, then you can just smash that MF like and subscribe. You can also check out my Patreon if you want to help support my channel. And you can also watch a movie like Solomon Brothers. I already told you on this channel that I didn't like it, so alright, have a great day, John Butter fandom.